We are so happy to welcome you all back for ICF Academy Season 6. We have made it to a sixth season of ICF Academy, and we are so happy to have you all with us today. And a big welcome to all of our Australian pals. We changed the time just for you. We wanted to make sure that this was a time zone that was more accessible to our Australian pals, and we are so grateful to have three wonderful speakers from Oz who are joining us today. We have our little opening credits video to share right now. So we've already talked about the ICC coming up in China next year. We have our wonderful pals from Australia joining us, but can you please share in the chat, where are you joining us from? Let us know what countries are being represented today. We are definitely having Canada. That's me. We definitely have the United States. We definitely have Australia, but where else do we have? We've got Belgium, we've got Greece, we've got Beijing, China, Ecuador, Venezuela. Wonderful. So all over the world. And Fari's joining us from Istanbul, Mexico. So wonderful to have our international community joining us from all of the different time zones and all the different countries around the world. A couple of housekeeping things just to get us started. Please make sure that you are keeping yourself on mute. If you would like to use speaker view, you can change the setup so that you have a full screen view of the presentation and the speaker. We will be sharing our stuff primarily in English. Feel free to use the chat in your own language. And there is no formal break, so please take care of your own needs. We should finish in around 60 minutes. But for those of you who are wanting to listen in something other than English, we do have simultaneous translation. Sorry, that went out of order for me. If you would like to listen to interpretation, we have it available in Spanish and Mandarin. So in your meeting control panel, you can click on More and then Interpretation. And you can click on mute the original audio to only hear the interpreted language as well. So you can have it toggle on in Chinese or Spanish. We have it also available to you in Spanish for you to listen to in case my English was too fast for you.
Hola, hola, activar interpretación es súper sencillo. Aquí abajo en tu panel de control vas a ver 3 puntos que dicen más. Vas a seleccionar allí y luego vas a seleccionar interpretación. Y a continuación vas a escoger el idioma en el que te gustaría escuchar esta sesión. Aparte, opcionalmente, puedes seleccionar mutear el idioma original para que solo escuches la interpretación. Disfruta mucho esta sesión, nos vemos.
Thank you so much, Lucy, for sharing that. And a big thank you as well to Robert, who will be sharing the interpretation in Mandarin. I'm just going to go back a couple of slides to introduce myself. Hi, my name is Kate Taylor. I am a camp consultant. I've been in the camp business for about 20 years. I've been working with ICF Academy for the last few seasons. I worked with Gabrielle on the Thanks to Camp movement, and I as well work with the Women in Camp Summit on their leadership team. We're also looking forward to a Women in Camp Summit coming up in January next year, so we're very excited for that as well. I'm thrilled to be presenting with you today with Dwight, Peter, and Lizzy, and we will start our plan for today. So Peter will be sharing about the ACA, that's the Australian Camps Association conference summary. And Dwight will be sharing some stuff on the sector standards and some projects that they've got going on down in Oz. And Lizzy will be talking about how to encourage positive and constructive feedback with your staff. So to start us off, Peter, excuse me, sorry, I have a tickle in my throat. So Peter McDougall is the CEO of the Australian Camps Association. He is a strategic and people-focused leader dedicated to helping camps thrive across Australia. Since joining the ACA as CEO in 2023, he has led national efforts in advocacy, government engagement, accreditation, insurance, and research such as the ACA Census. With over 2 decades in community and organizational leadership, including CEO and senior roles with AFL Victoria and Northern Football Netball League, Peter has worked with boards, government, and stakeholders to strengthen governance and build resilient organizations. He is values-driven and collaborative and continues to advance the ACA Strategic Plan and champion transparency, teamwork, and continuous improvement across the outdoor sector. Welcome, Peter. Take it away.
Thank you, Kate. Well, I need to pay someone for that introduction. Very flattering. Great to be here. And firstly, I'd just like to thank everyone at the ICF for inviting myself, Dwight, and Lizzy to be able to present today. We're rapt to be able to share some of what's been going on down here in Australia. And there's been lots happening in the last 12 months in particular. So as much as I'll talk about our conference and some of the key takeaways from that recently, I'm also going to touch on some of the key items that we've been working on, particularly this year, that's relevant and I thought may be of interest to everybody in other countries as well. So I think there might be some transferables from what we're doing that might generate a bit of interest across the board as well. So I'm mindful of time because we're on a really sharp time frame, so I won't waffle on too long other than to say we'll go to the first slide, Kate. And I'll kickstart by just touching on our national conference, which was held a few weeks ago in Geelong in Victoria, which is the southern part of Australia. We had approximately 100 people come along to that conference. So for the benefit of everyone else, our conferences are nothing like the American version that's has thousands of people coming along. 100 is a standard number for us, which is great. And it's a good size number for us to be able to connect with each other and really get the maximum benefit of coming along. But to give you an insight into our Geelong conference, I suppose the way I would describe the sector coming together was probably more reflective, resilient, and really ready to evolve. And over the 2 days that we ran our conference, we did have 1 day of camp visits prior to the 2 days in-house. Obviously presentations, connection, shared conversations. And our delegates explored how camps shape wellbeing, leadership and community in an increasingly complex world. And I think we all know that the world's getting more complicated every year. The 3 key themes for me that really emerged from that conference was the leadership through change, strengthening foundations, and innovation for impact. And from reflection on curiosity and belonging to a focus on safety and growth through challenge, the message was one of courage paired with preparedness. And I think that was a good way to articulate and sum up the conference as a whole. There was discussions throughout the conference that redefined leadership, grounded progress in evidence and advocacy, and embraced innovation in digital strategy, accreditation, and workforce capability. And then together, these insights revealed a confident, collaborative sector and one that continues to learn, adapt, and lead the way in creating a transformative outdoor experiences for everyone. And then the other one takeout for me was the level of collaboration and goodwill in the room amongst those attendees to be able to stand back and observe the way that everybody was connecting was incredible. And I think we're really fortunate here in Australia to have such a great quality group of people who come together to share their experiences at the same time, willing to help each other and learn from each other as they go back into their camps and continue their day-to-day business. So I think that's really the highlight for me, was just the way everybody got along and connected and shared with each other, which was fantastic. Okay, we'll go on to our next slide. So I'm going to touch on our path forward and strengthening our camp sector. So since, and Dwight, who you'll meet shortly, since Dwight and I have been in the role, which is coming up to 3 years now, we've been really keen to connect with our members. And by doing that, we made a commitment to turn up and visit our members. And our aim was to try to visit each member over a 3-year period, which is pretty challenging. There's 523 camps in Australia. So we've found that it's probably a bit more than we thought to get to that many. But when we talk about our members, we've got about 250 members within Australia out of those 523 camps. Which means so far in the last 2 years, Dwight and I, we've got out to 180 camps visited on site, which, as you would appreciate, takes a bit of time, but it's been great to get out there and meet everybody in their own environment and to be able to see what they do and how they do it. As you would realise, every camp is different, and therefore it's great to be able to visit them and connect with them in their own world. So that's been a great outcome, and it's helped us to build the partnerships and relationships, and it helps us then to advocate by understanding the challenges that each of them meet individually, and therefore we build on those camp visits and to focus on what's a priority when we do engage into the future with government partners and industry bodies and so forth. So that's something that we'll keep doing and turning up and representing their interests across the board. Next one, Kate. So as I said, advocacy is a really key role of what we do. And since September 2023, so we're talking about the last 2 years now, I've had 70 meetings with governments across the country. So that's state and federal government departments with their key decision makers, or in Australia, it's ministers. They have portfolios for different areas. They focus on whether it's education to tourism to jobs and skills and training, and so forth, sport and recreation. So we've had a lot of meetings trying to fly the flag and represent camps across the country. It significantly has raised the profile of camps in Australia by having these meetings and highlighting the current challenges and opportunities to provide greater support to the sector. So we're continuously on the front foot promoting across the country to all those key decision makers. And the other thing that we try to impress on our members is that everyone has a role to play when we talk about advocating. Like, as much as I can meet with the government representatives on all things, we have local members of parliament that are elected in geographic regions across the country. And for each member to build a relationship with that local member is critical to help us have a united voice when we start trying to represent camps to government. And therefore we share talking points that are consistent and show and demonstrate a united sector. So that's been a really positive impact. And as I said at the start, we've highlighted the benefits of a camp strongly. Okay, next one. As I said, by building a united national approach, accreditation we've determined is to be a critical part of what we do, and we see a great value in having a strong accreditation program for camps nationally. So we've done a lot of work in this space throughout the last couple of years, and having a coordinated national approach to accreditation. We've been talking with government bodies about accreditation and how that sits within the parameters of risk management and processes that in our school camp bookings, where teachers are visiting camps and conducting risk surveys, we're trying to streamline and reduce administration burden between schools and camps on the back of the accreditation program, which then sits underneath our quality tourism framework. So therefore, we've had a lot of traction at government level to raise the profile of accreditation, which is great. But most importantly, also, accreditation helps build and improve the standards of operation and consistency across all camps in the country, and hopefully reduces the gap between the better run camps and the lesser ones. And therefore, the end result is that the schools, the kids, the teachers, the parents, etc., have greater comfort knowing that when they go to camp, they're going to a really well-run camp, and therefore they can just focus on having a good time and enjoying themselves rather than is it going to be safe or not, and so forth. So we've done a fair bit of work there, and we're also reaching out into other education systems, highlighting the benefits of camps. For example, the Catholic education system here in Australia, we're working through there with them to help implement an accreditation approach, and therefore eliminating some of the administration layers that are in place currently. All right, next one. We've had a few big initiatives this year that we've rolled out, and I'm going to touch on a couple of them now. The first one is we're conducting our first national census and economic impact project. And we're doing this to, one, understand the width and breadth of our organisation, but also understand participation rates. Sport do this really well in Australia, and in the recreation space, we can do it a lot better. So by doing this, we were lucky enough to get funding from the Victorian government that has supported this project, and it's been facilitated by a company called Street Ryan and Associates, who are very well versed in and conducting these type of projects for a lot of national bodies throughout Australia. So the focus is to collate the 2024 school camps participation data. It's also to develop an economic impact study on the value of camps to regional communities in particular, the benefits of having this data. And I'll touch on some of those questions. I won't give the exact numbers out yet, just on the questions that ICF has promoted. So I'll come back to those later. But when we talk about economic impact, we're talking about $1.2 billion has spent on camps in 2024, which is in our country a significant amount of money. And that's combined from direct funding and income to indirect as well. So significant numbers, and I'm only going to touch on these high level numbers. The census report will be a lot more detailed by state, by demographics and other breakdowns as well, which we'll be able to share publicly moving forward. And what we will be doing on the back of this census project is developing a marketing strategy about how we can use this data to then promote camps across the country and attach the well-being and health outcomes and benefits of children attending camps. So it's not just about the numbers, it's how we build a product to be able to tell the story better about the value and the benefits of camps across Australia. So I'm looking forward to really doing that, because I think that's going to give us some great traction up the chain into government by being able to articulate exactly what those benefits are. Okay, next slide. We're getting there. We're watching the clock here, so I'll move pretty quickly. National Insurance Program. For me, in the time that I've been here, insurance is the #1 challenge for camps across Australia, and probably across most countries as well. The ability to get the appropriate insurance cover, especially for camps that are in what we call bushfire zones or natural disaster areas. So it does make it a challenge to get, one, the cover, or two, affordable cover. Earlier this year, we have conducted a feasibility study into a national insurance program, which could then build the financial resilience through a purpose-built collaborative insurance solution addressing one of the sector's key challenges, as I said. So we've conducted that. We had 54 camps that participated in the feasibility study. The outcome of the feasibility study is that it is possible to develop the national insurance program. So now with the brokers we're working with, we're just working through identifying an underwriter that potentially can come on board and facilitate the insurance program. If we can get this off the ground, this will be a game changer for camps in Australia. It will bring considerable savings, and that's part of the vision, is to reduce the cost of insurance, but without compromising the quality of the cover. And at this stage, indications are that we should be able to reduce the cost of insurance nationally here, hopefully by up to 15% on the property insurance alone. And that's the area that we're going to focus on to begin with. So stay tuned on that one. There's more to come, and we've got a bit of work still to go, but I thought it'd be worth just providing a quick insight into the fact that we're working through developing something in that space. Okay, next one. The last one I wanted to just touch on, and when we're talking about the approach, I think we missed a slide there. Okay, do we skip one? Oh no, maybe we're out of order. But also the approach moving forward for us is is about strengthening the camping sector by equipping our members with the knowledge and tools and advocacy needed to thrive. Our core priorities include advancing government and sector representation, streamlining accreditation and quality standards, and enhancing member resources and professional development, and driving data and insurance initiatives that support the sector's long-term sustainability. Okay, next one. And the last one I just wanted to highlight is a project that's been going for a number of years here in Australia called Uploads. What Uploads is it's a project to develop and standardise a national approach to incident reporting and learning for the outdoor sector in Australia and a corresponding national incident data set. So this has been running for quite a while. There's been over 19,000 incidents reported through this platform via a national incident data set, over 130 registered organisations across all Australian states. The evaluation so far with that data has been able to demonstrate a reduction in incidents for Uploads users. And it shows in the most recent report that 7.5 per 1,000 program participation days is the incident rate. So 7.5 per 1,000 program days. It's pretty low, which is great. So it's the most frequently reported incident contributing factors. They're currently participant decision-making, terrain and equipment in clothing, but walking and running is some of those key areas. But I just thought I'd mention that.
First step, hang time and recovery speed.
Oh, we've got feedback coming. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. That's a really fast snapshot on some of the things that are happening here in Australia at this stage. I know I've skimmed the surface on most of those things, conscious of time, but I think it was good just to at least give a small insight into some of the things that we're working on and what we're doing down here. So I might hand it back to Kate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Peter. Yeah, I'm really interested in looking at what you guys do with the ACA Census. Here in Quebec, we're actually doing a similar project. We're launching a camp census and trying to do a little bit of lobbying with the government to recognize the accreditation process with the ACQ. So making sure that there aren't so many camps out there that are operating and calling themselves camps, but they are absolutely not up to any kind of safety standard like we have with the ACQ accreditation laws. So trying to get the ACAQ accreditation to be a mandatory requirement so that we don't have this bad rap, coloring the name of camp when there's a lot of camps out there that are doing really, really good and impactful work. So I'll be very interested to see what you guys do with your marketing on that.
Yep.
When you were talking about the ACA conference, is it only like the camp directors and owners that tend to be at this conference, or do you have anything for the sort of middle management levels, lower management, anything like that?
Look, in the last couple of years, it's more been focused at the owner-manager level. It's a personal development opportunity, but also an opportunity for them to get access to presenters and information that they wouldn't normally get access to, but also the information that they get, hopefully they can take back to implement and improve their day-to-day business operations, and focusing around innovation and how they can continually be sustainable into the long-term future. I think it's that bigger picture level. There is opportunities to delve into the operational side of things. So I think that's an opportunity down the track for us. But I think initially the focus since I've been here is about how do we equip the key decision makers within the camp to help build that camp to be a sustainable model into the future.
Yeah. We have a question from Simon in Venezuela. Are there organizations that are running camps in Australia that aren't part of the ACA? Like, do you have to be a member of ACA?
No, it's optional. So we're probably, as I said, we've got about 250 members out of 523. So do the maths, I don't know, it's about 40% or so. It's purely optional. From our perspective, we hope that by what we do demonstrates the value of being a member of ACA down here, and that everything that we do provides benefit to our members. At a small cost, there's greater values, whether that's through commercial benefits and discounts in using our preferred suppliers, to the advocacy piece, to the support one-on-one. So it's really a one-stop shop as we see ourselves for camps in Australia, and that if there's something that is an issue within the camps world that's a common across multiple sites, that it's a perfect opportunity for us to get involved and assist, rather than every camp work in silos or try to go off and manage that situation on their own. And I think that camp owners are really time poor. So this is a great opportunity for us to step in and help by doing the legwork for them and providing the information or the template or the resource that can actually help them. So I think that's a valuable role for us to play, rather than everybody trying to do it themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's far too much reinvention of the wheel when you go off and do things that way. Yeah. So you did mention as part of your census that you were going to answer our questions that we had posed to our audiences. So we have our Menti slides with the guesses that we had from all of our different ICF members. So what percentage of children in Australia do go to day school camp? We have a wide range of guesses, but the 61 to 80% seems to be the most popular response.
So based on our census data for 2024, at this stage, we had 3.9 million school children go on camp last calendar year. Wow. That equates to 50% pretty much of the total school population. So that's in just 1 year that we've got at least 50% going to a camp last year. But
that's excellent. Yeah.
But then in the lifetime, what we're talking about here, and we're falling into that higher category of the 81 to 100%. So it's fair to say that we're looking at about 92% of children in Australia will go on at least one camp in their school lifetime. Now,
92%, that's incredible. That's mind-blowing numbers to me.
and saying one camp, it's probably fair to say that most will go on multiple camps through that school time. So really you're talking from the age of 5 to 18.
Yeah.
Just to give everyone an understanding of that. So huge numbers. It's a really big part of what we do here. Curriculum based, so it's aligned to all the learning outcomes and benefits, as you would all know from camps.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Peter. I am being mindful of time as well. I'm going to pass the mic on to Dwight, but thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate it. And please feel free to answer some of those questions in the chat that have been popping up as well.
For sure.
So Dwight, I'm going to invite you to join me on stage here.
Thanks for having me.
Unpin here. Perfect. So Dwight, let me tell you all about Dwight. Dwight is the manager of memberships and preferred suppliers at the Australian Camps Association, working with members and industry partners to strengthen and support the camps and outdoor sector nationwide. Dwight brings hands-on leadership experience to his current role, having held previous positions as a camp manager, center manager, and senior coach, along with several years at Gymnastics Victoria, managing participation programs, events, and stakeholder engagement. With a background in outdoor education, business, and event management, Dwight enjoys practical problem solving and collaborating with others who value camps as places for connection, learning, and growth. Take it away, Dwight.
Wow, thanks. That's really, really nice. So I guess just to kind of expand on what my role is and how I kind of what I do day to day. So right now I am out and about on one of my trips to visit some members. So I'm in regional Victoria, and that's probably, to be honest, the best part of my role is getting out on different sites and seeing different operations and how they work, and chatting with the staff there and the managers out there to see how we can help. Along with that, any member assistance that flows from that, whether it comes from a visit or an email or some kind of contact, and whether that comes directly to me or we then pass it on to Pete or someone like that who can then contact the government or whoever it is, and we can get some answers. Preferred suppliers is also a big part of my role. So the ACA have about 10 to 15 preferred suppliers at the moment, ranging from insurance, food, services, electricity, gas companies, anything like that. And that's always a program that we're looking to try and expand. If one of our members is having an issue or wants to try and get a better deal on something, we're always looking for a new supplier to help our members as well. And then I guess while it's not in my title, probably the biggest part of what I do is in the camp development space. So I represent ACA and our members on at a range of different standards and work group committees, along with Jess, who's our events and communications person. We run our own series of webinars for our members with topics that range from how to manage diabetes or anaphylaxis through to how to run some different programs in your camp and make the most of, say, corporate programs, or making use of the space when the camp's not in session as well. So yeah, my current big projects, I guess, in that space are some Australian standards that I'll go through. So the bunk bed standard that's been reviewed, we've been able to help our members with that one, as you can see up on the screen. So that was it's been about a 12-month project for that one, and it has involved not just ourselves but manufacturers of bunk beds, child safety organisations, and all those kind of bodies that might have some interest in that. The standard did have a couple of things that we've added. So we've added a domestic and commercial side of that standard. So, especially if you're in the camps world, we've got some pretty big boys and girls that want to cope a camp and jump up on bunk beds, and we had to make sure that the standard was appropriate for those guys. Along with the strength rating, also making the ladder of bunk beds a bit wider so you can accommodate some bigger people and that kind of thing. And then ventilation and all those kind of little nitty-gritty things that I probably didn't have the technical expertise, but mostly representing our members in making sure that whatever standard was developed is going to meet their needs and not exclude anyone or make it harder for them to operate. We can move on to the next one if you like, Kate. So yeah, the other big standard there is what has taken what looks like they're almost 2.5, 3 years coming up, is our ropes course Flying Fox challenge course standard. The ACA actually were the ones that kind of instigated this review. Previously, the standard had been one that was adopted from the European and American standard, and so we took those bones, we've expanded it from what was, I think maybe 50 pages for 2 sections, and that's now 120 pages of standards, and it really focuses on Australian conditions and making sure that the activities that are encompassed in that are safe for use throughout Australia as well. So we really focused on meeting some needs of some regulators that have come up with some new activities, and as well as giving a bit more guidance for builders and operators to make sure that the activities are run safely and are really, while the risk of these kind of activities we know are fairly low because we're harnessed and we're all those kind of things, it's the perception of these activities that we really wanted to make sure that you can reduce as many incidents from happening as possible. So I'm going to highlight a couple of kind of major ones that I think might be relevant for everybody online today. So we can shoot across to the next one if you like, Kate. So many of your facilities might have a giant swing type activity like you see there. We didn't have a specific place in the standard for this activity previously, and we looked to make some changes just to make it a little bit safer, almost make it a bit bulletproof, really. One of the biggest hazards that we had, or things that led to incidents, were you might see the ladder there that you use to put participants on and off the swing wasn't being stowed away properly, and a couple of incidents where participants were hitting the ladder. So the new standard makes sure that there's almost a locking system, so a participant can't be hauled up and participate in the activity until that ladder's out the way, and also a bit more of guidance on runways or fencing off areas where kind of no-go areas where you don't want people shooting across and into as well. Next one there, Kate. So another activity that you probably have in a lot of your facilities, and it's pretty popular over here in Australia as well, as the crate stacking activity. Milk crates predominantly used, and this was another one that's not really new, but there wasn't a specific standard that was written, and that caused regulators to really interpret the activity the way that they wanted, and was really, for some of our states and some of our jurisdictions, made it really hard for them to operate the activity with those regulators and their restrictions that they were putting on it. One of those, probably the biggest one of those, is technically milk crates. I don't know how it is in some of your countries, but milk crates are not for standing on, and especially in a business. Our WorkSafe bodies are really against the idea of using a milk crate and standing on it for any activity, regardless that the participant there is on a belay and is held and all that kind of thing. Our regulators, as I'm sure yours are, as black and white, yes or no. There's no flexibility in between. So one of the things that we had to include in the standard, and one of the things that the ACA assisted in, was we did some testing for those milk crates, some strength testing, some stability testing, sorry, to make sure those crates were safe. And we've put that new testing mechanism into the standard. We've also, with the ACA, we also got a number of those crates tested, and we've located a supplier that can supply the crates that we've got tested. The crates will have a marking that say that they've been tested and they meet the standard, in hopes that will then fend off our regulators from making this activity unsustainable. So that was a big thing that we wanted to include in this standard as well. Next. So Pete touched on our accreditation framework that we are partnered with the Australian tourism industry on. We did a full review of the accreditation system over the last 12 months, and it's hopefully ready to start being rolled out in January. One of the big things for the accreditation, as Pete said, is to make sure that we're keeping up with the standard, and all the camps in Australia are kind of at a reasonably level of sustainability and safety, that we want to make sure that all participants, those 50% of people kids that are going to camp every year, are safe. So we went through a bit of a review of that accreditation. If you want to bring up the next one, Kate. So this is kind of the key areas that our accreditation looks at. So obviously, activities and risks is a big one. It does require businesses to put in risk management plans, to provide some of their safe operating procedures, to provide documents on their annual inspections and their inspection regimes, and their how they're training and how staff are qualified to run the activities that they do. But it's much more than that. So around the facilities, bunk beds, kitchen, dining, all those kind of areas are included in the accreditation as well. The biggest area, and the area that we've really expanded during our review process, was safeguarding or child safety. It's a big thing in the world that we live in now, and so it was important that was brought up to speed with making sure that our camps and people that had the accreditation were making sure staff had working with children's checks, making sure that they were filling out registries and had a child safety policy, and all those important things that we want to make sure that we can put in place to keep our young people and people with other challenges safe. A big part of our accreditation, and something that I'm actually doing in a number of my visits today and tomorrow, is a site inspection. So a physical inspection of someone like myself or someone from our tourism industry partners going out on site, checking fire extinguishers, checking flying foxes, checking all the things that we need to physically see, that you can't just smuggle away into providing an online certificate or whatever. We want to make sure that those things are up to date and correct. And I think that might be about it. Is there another one there, Kate? I think I've spoken really quickly. Sorry,
That's
everyone.
it. No, that's great. That's all we have for you. I do have a couple of questions, if you don't mind me taking a moment.
Of course.
I was wondering, with these, increases in safety standards, I guess you could put it, have you gotten any pushback from any of your camps or any of the clients? Sometimes we get in North America or in the UK, health and safety gone mad, and everyone's, worried about being snowflakes or anything like that, like putting too many safety checks and balances in it. Do you get that kind of pushback in Australia?
Yeah, I think we definitely do. There are traditionally, the industry has probably been the majority of camps have been owned and operated by smaller family businesses. They've had the camp for 20, 30 years in their family business, and this is the way they've run things and that kind of thing. But I think there's a real push on our part and for regulators and for school systems, because the school system's a big part of camps in Australia, that there is a standard that is expected. Parents expect, teachers expect, and for some it's you move with the times, or it's going to mean that you don't get more bookings or anything like that. But we will try and work with any members or businesses like that to make sure that they understand why the changes need to happen, and the importance of, if there is an incident or if something does happen, that affects our industry, our sector as a whole. It's not just going to be an isolated case, especially in this new world of iPhones and instant reporting from citizens and things like that. So it's really important that we bring those people up to speed, I think.
Yeah, nobody wants to go viral for the wrong reasons.
100%.
On the flip side of that, are you seeing any sort of improvements in your negotiations with insurance providers by being able to demonstrate that you are doing these safety standard improvements?
Yeah, I think that's probably the next phase of what will happen with our insurance things that Peter's working on. While the immediate, and Pete might want to jump in, the immediate concern is getting insurance for property, flood, fire, natural disasters. We see that the accreditation program and being able to say that you're accredited could lead to making sure that your policy is matched by that, because you do have the standards, you are meeting all those things, versus someone who doesn't have that accreditation. So it's definitely something that we're looking at maybe involving in the future, but not straight away.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I will move us right along to Lizzy, if you don't mind, Dwight. I will invite Lizzy to the stage by finding her on my screen. Here you are. So add you pin. All right. So Lizzy Pugh, welcome to the stage. So Lizzy is an educator and facilitator with 17 years of experience in outdoor education. Lizzy brings both depth and heart to every program that she leads. She began her journey in the U.S. camp world, where she discovered that every activity, no matter how small, can be a powerful conduit for learning and growth. Lizzy is a dedicated people person and a people leader, known for her energy, insight, and uncanny ability to run a game at the drop of a hat. When she's not facilitating team development or shaping the next generation of outdoor educators, she is busy wrangling two energetic toddlers, which adds chief negotiator to her impressive skill set. Lizzy, take it away.
Thank you so much. Yes, I negotiated putting shoes on this morning, which was apparently a lot trickier than I anticipated. There you go. And I think my ability to actually run a game at the drop of a hat definitely came from my years at summer camp. So there you go. Hi, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. I guess this is a bit of just a quick fire session of what I presented at the ACA conference. And now before we start, I just want to be really upfront. I am not an expert on feedback at all. I'm someone who's still learning, still practicing, and I want to say I definitely get it wrong. Feedback's one of those things that we know is really important. But if we're honest, it's pretty awkward. It can sometimes be really rushed, and sometimes we can just avoid it altogether. So hopefully in just a short 10 minutes, I'll be able to unpack, I guess, why it really matters, or why I'm finding it really matters, and a few small things that we can do to just, I guess, make it a more natural part of your leadership. So I'd like to, I'm a bit of a, I need engagement to, like fuel my fire. So I'm going to ask you to chuck in the chat in one word, how do you feel about feedback? Definitely challenged, needed, crucial. Ugh, great. All a bit of a mix and definitely all very normal. Delegated, great one. Yeah, it's tough and it definitely makes a difference. If we can go to the next slide, Kate, that'd be awesome. Oh, actually, sorry, go to the next one and then I'm going to bring it back to that one. Sorry, my bad. Great. So some quick facts. 65% of employees will say that they want more feedback than they currently get. Leaders who ask for feedback are rated 86% more effective by their teams. And teams that have healthy feedback habits see a 40% higher engagement. Roughly about 1 in 4 managers actually feel confident in giving constructive feedback. I'm not one of them. So it isn't about necessarily knowing what to do. It's about having the confidence and the language to actually do it. That's what's going to build strong, trusting teams. So I guess at the heart of feedback, it's not really about performance so much. And I think this is where people get a bit stuck. Or a tick box process. I guess, if we're doing performance reviews and things like that, we sort of get stuck in the paperwork of it. But it's really about connection. Giving feedback says, I see you, I care about your growth. And receiving feedback is saying, I'm still learning and I really value your perspective. Kate, could you flick back to the one behind that one? Thanks. So a couple of quick tips from me is start with strengths. So there's some others there too, but start with strengths. People hear challenge best when they feel valued. Be specific. Instead of saying, good job, try saying, your clarity in that situation or that meeting really helped the team focus, or something along those lines. Stay curious. I will say this a lot and people will get sick of it, but curiosity is a superpower. So asking questions like, how did it land? Tell me more about that. What would help next time? Helps turn feedback into a two-way conversation instead of what feels like a one-way and makes it feel more uncomfortable. You can use I've noticed instead of you always, makes it definitely higher value. And pairing honesty with care is going to get you everywhere. I didn't rhyme that on purpose, but that worked very well for me. So I guess if you had to pick one thing that you think your team needs more of, would it be, I'm going to give you options, would it be strengths, specificity, or curiosity? Out of the three, chuck it in the chat. What do you think with your particular team? Amazing. Excuse me. They don't know what they don't know. That's what I got told all through my traineeship. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to get you to have a little bit of a think about feedback and yourself. So take a moment to think about this. What was the best piece of feedback that you have ever received? If you're confident sharing it, share it. Otherwise, just have a think about it for yourself. What is the best piece of feedback that you have received? And more to the point, probably, why did it stick with you? When I'm thinking about this, I'm looking at me internally and then how I can give positive, have a positive feedback experience with a staff member. Great, perfect, amazing. So what makes feedback so powerful? For you receiving that feedback, or for you as a leader that's giving that feedback, what do you think it is? Like, what's something that you really value in that feedback space? Chuck it in the chat. What makes it so powerful? They've noticed, 100% they've noticed you. It's been specific and detailed. It's given you a direction. Fantastic. Yeah, great. It's talking about care. You know that you're feeling valued, appreciated. Definitely. How to improve. Amazing. Feed forward. I love that. Guess I have to change my whole thing. Perfect. A lot of what I think is, it was honest. It came from somebody who cared, or the purpose was that it would help me grow. That's the magic. That's why feedback or feed forward connects, and when it is both clear and kind, honesty and care. So, as a wrap up, here's your quick challenge. Yeah, that's right. Some homework. I'd like you to ask one person for feedback. Over the next week or month, ask one person for feedback for yourself. And also, I know somebody said that they're going into this soon anyway, but give one person thoughtful, specific feedback. We've said it a lot, but feedback isn't about being perfect. It's just about being present. When leaders model curiosity and honesty, they build cultures of trust and growth, something we know, something we work on. So go out this week or this month, ask the question, give the feedback, and keep the small conversations going. You want to build the foundation to build up to bigger ones. Thank you so much for your time. And before I just end, I guess I just want to do the last slide if you can, Kate. Perfect. You've got to be willing to receive it, to give it. Right? It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much, Lizzy. That was excellent. I have one quick question to wrap you up with, and I'm sure that other people might pop some things in the chat, but you mentioned specifically that you don't feel very confident in giving feedback, or you feel like it's something that's like a growth area for you. What is helping you get over that? Like, what is helping you get to a point where you feel comfortable with feedback?
For me, it's a lot about practice. So I think that I've shied away from it for a long time, and I'm feeling that with being in management and leadership, there's no space for that. It doesn't actually help anybody to shy away from it. You have to be willing to give it and receive it. So I guess I'm trying to build a foundation of giving lots of little bits of feedback along the way, so people feel like when they come in to have a conversation with me, it's not just always the doom and gloom. It's they have a different connotation to it. So I'm just trying
Mhm.
to change the like the feeling around it generally and make myself more confident is just by practicing giving it more.
Yeah.
And
It's
it
like a
doesn't, I
muscle.
think, exactly, and it doesn't, I think the connotation is overwhelmingly negative with feedback. So the more that I can give it in different ways and different forms will build it to be better.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much again. And thank you as well to Dwight and to Peter for joining us today. Like we said, feel free to pop some more questions in the chat. If folks want to get in touch with us to be connected with any of our speakers to have a chance to ask them more questions, we are happy to try and facilitate that for you. We have just a few little wrap-up things for you. Next episode is coming up in November 18th. We will be having special guests Dan Weir and Jack Scott, who will be talking about staffing solutions. So a deep dive into some survey results that they did in the USA and actually a little bit into Canada as well. I think some Canadian camps participated in that. Please make sure that you join us for November 18th episode. ICC China coming up in 2026 in November. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us tonight or this morning if you're in Australia. Big thank you again to Peter, Dwight, and Lizzy for joining us as well. And have a wonderful evening or day.
Thank you so much.